Hello, everyone, and welcome to the beginning of our week of nothing but Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. First week of that, too. And I decided I was going to start things off with something kind of cool. Something kind of spicy. It's a brew that I was kind of curious about. I didn't really look that deep into it before I just kind of jumped into it. But nonetheless, I'm kind of glad that I did. So the first thing I want to mention is I didn't actually start playing with the full power version of this deck until yesterday, when I finally got the big star of the deck, which is Odin, father of the Aesir. But before we get too far, go ahead and explain that this deck is called Nordic Arisen. It focuses entirely on using Nordic monsters to summon Valhalla tuner monsters plus one other. And I gotta say, even though there's a lot of really specific and resource intense manners in which you're supposed to special summon these, it pays off really nicely. So let's go ahead and take a look first off at our all-star. We have Odin, father of the Aesir. It requires one Nordic Ascent tuner, and we'll be looking at that when we take a look at the main deck here in a minute, and two or more non-tuner monsters. It says, once per turn, you can make this card be unaffected by spell and trap effects until the end of this turn. During the end phase, if this face-up card you controlled was destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can banish one Nordic Ascent tuner monster from your graveyard and special summon this card. When summoned this way, you can draw one card. So, first off, it's not likely he's going to die because he already has protection from spells and traps once a turn. But second off, take a look at that attack. That is 4,000. That is enormous. Now, that's not to say that he can't be killed, but I am not going to lie. It has not yet happened in any of the plays that I've done with him, which hasn't been a whole lot, but there are definitely a lot of different ways you can kill him. Regardless, though, he bounces right back. And it's awesome. I mean, the main draw here is that he's a beater. He does 4,000 attack. There are ways to make that even bigger, and he's the all-star of the deck. But regardless, we still have a couple of others to take a quick look at. So we have Loki, Lord of the Aesir. As you can tell, they straight up ripped off Nordic mythology and then made it goofy looking. So first off, this one requires a Nordic Alpha tuner plus two or more non-tuner monsters. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card during your battle phase, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. This is a quick effect. During the end phase, if this card you controlled was destroyed by your opponent's card effect, by your opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish a Nordic Alpha tuner monster from your graveyard and special summon this card. And when you special summon it this way, you can target a trap in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So, going over it, it looks like it pretty much has the exact same effects as Odin. You can negate the activation of a spell or trap. Well, actually, no. With Odin, you shut down one that targets him. And with Loki, you can negate the activation of one. So, he's pretty strong utility. On top of that, he has 3,300 attack, which isn't the biggest, but it's still a lot bigger than some of the other stuff that I've seen out there. Now, naturally, going along with the themes, where you now have to look at Thor, Lord of the Aesir, which requires a Nordic Beast tuner, plus two or more non-tuner monsters. Once per turn, you can negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. So, it doesn't matter if it's a static ability, an activated ability, anything like that. They are completely negated. During the end phase, if this face-up card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect, and oops, I just added a second one on accident. During the end phase, if this face-up card you control is destroyed by battle by your opponent's card And sent to the graveyard, you can banish a Nordic Beast tuner monster from your graveyard and special summon this card. If summoned this way, inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent. So I kind of like how every single time there is an option for them to come back from the graveyard, you get some type of benefit. You can either return you can draw a card, you can return a trap, or you can do 100 points of damage. I also like how they each have the ability to shut something down once per turn. Now we do have one final what's the word I'm looking for? Non-Aesir tuner. And it's Ally of Justice Decisive Armor. And it's in here strictly because it's a level 10. That's actually pretty powerful on its own. So this is just one tuner and two or more non-tuner monsters. Its attack is 3,000. Oh, by the way, Thor's attack 35,000. I don't look at the defenses because I can't think of a situation where I put them on the defensive. But back to what I was saying. Once per turn, if your opponent controls a face-up light monster, so therefore this effect is completely conditional, you can activate one of these effects. Select one set card your opponent controls and destroy it. Send one card from your hand to the graveyard to destroy all spell or trap cards your opponent controls, or send all cards in your hand to the graveyard to look at your opponent's hand and send the light monsters in their hand to the graveyard. Then inflicts damage to your opponent equal to the total attack of the opponent's monsters sent to the graveyard. So obviously this would be insanely devastating if we came across something that was all lights. Now, off the top of my head, the only thing I can think of that would be an all light deck might be like a really cheesy fairy deck or something called Light Sworns, I believe. And I'm not entirely sure if Light Sworns actually are an all light deck, but I would assume so just because of the name. I just happen to know for a fact that the deck exists. It's pretty powerful if I remember right, but I don't know why. In fact, all I can distinctly remember about the deck is that you pay like 1,000 life points to activate a bunch of their abilities, but in the right build, that's not a huge issue. So, with that aside, let's go ahead and take a look at the main deck, what makes this function and tick. So first of all, we have probably one of the biggest all-stars in the deck, which is Vanadis of the Nordic Ascent. And she's a tuner. It says, for a synchro summon, you can substitute this card for any one Nordic tuner monster. So, if you remember, and we'll just look at it real quick. This one needs a Nordic Ascent. Odin needs a Nordic Ascent. Loki needs a Nordic Alpha, and Thor needs a Nordic Beast. But this does not care what Thor and Loki needs. She will substitute regardless. If this card is used as synchro material, all other synchro material monsters must be Nordic monsters. Once per turn, you can send one Nordic monster from your deck to the graveyard, and this card's level becomes the level of that monster. So, real quick, as you'll see here in a moment, this deck focuses entirely on using level 10 synchro monsters. And we kind of are entirely doing 2+4+4. So she usually has to send something to the graveyard that's level 2, which we only have a couple. We have 4 of. And we're going to take a look at the first one, which is Valkyrie of the Nordic Ascent. Now, this one, I only have one copy of because I'm kind of toying with it at the moment. But basically, this is instant Odin. This is literally your first turn, you have Odin out. Provided that you have the correct conditions, which is when this card is normal summoned, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no other cards, you can banish 2 Nordic monsters from your hand and special summon 2 Inherjar tokens, which are, all the other details aside, level 4 monsters in defense position, which means bada bing bada boom, you have a Nordic Ascent plus 2 level 4 monsters. That's instant Odin right there. Just straight up comes out. Now, of course, this can only be done under the 2 conditions of A. This is your second turn and your opponent has only managed to get 1 creature out onto, and your opponent has managed to get a creature out on the battlefield. And B, that you have 2 Nordic monsters to banish from your hand. Luckily, it's not that hard to meet both of those conditions. Actually, let's take a look at the last tuner before we jump to the other stuff. This is Mara of the Nordic Alfor. This is our instant Loki card. Because it says, when using this card as synchro material, the other synchro monsters must be 2 Nordic monsters in your hand. So basically, you summon this if you have got 2 other Nordic monsters in your hand that are level 4 that are non-tuners. You can send them to the graveyard, plus this guy, boom, you have Loki. It is so insane how efficient this deck is at getting out good stuff. As a matter of fact, the only one that is in any way slow is getting out Thor, because the only way you can get out Thor is by using Vandus of the Nordic set, because unfortunately the Nordic Beast tuners, that's all I have to say. It's also worth mentioning that you can use this and this to pull out the Alley of Justice Decisive Armor thing. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the non-tuners, spells, and traps, then get into some gameplay. So, Garmr of the Nordic Beast. It says if this card battles a level 4 or lower monster, after damage calculation, you can return that monster to your hand. Most importantly, it has a defense. Ooh, excuse me. Long night. Anyway, a defense of 1900. So in a lot of situations, this thing just blocks and sends things back to the hand if you're going first, which is a pretty decent bit of stall. But most importantly, it is a Nordic creature, and it's level 4. Next, we have Yourself of the Nordic Alfor, which says when this card is normal summoned, you can target one face-up monster you control except this card, and special summon a Nordic monster from your hand with a level less than or equal to that face-up monster's level, which basically means you can just in very specific conditions, you can special summon something, which can 100% of the time help you get, well, I should say 90% of the time help you get your final form. And then finally, we have Tier of the Nordic Champions. Now, this is twofold. One, you can use the synchro material, which is its most common purpose. But the second is it's a little bit of a beater. It has 2,000 attack. It says your opponent can't target Nordic monsters for attacks except for Tier of the Nordic Champions. If there's no other face-up Nordic monsters on the field, destroy this card. So it's pretty conditional. It does make itself a big target, but at the same time, when you need it, it can help come in and clean up shop. Finally, let's take a look at the spells and traps. Now, this one I think is the best spell card in the deck, spell/trap card in this deck. Unfortunately, I only own one copy. So, target one face-up monster you control, it gains attack equal to its current defense. Until the end of turn. Other monsters you control cannot attack during this when you activate this card. And this is amazing, even though it has that restriction at the end, because we have creatures that have stupid high attacks and stupid high defenses. And when you add those two numbers up, I mean, Odin alone would be doing 75,000. Pretty amazing. So, yeah, it's really strong. This thing, in the right conditions, can just instant win the game. Then we have Enemy Controller, which is temporarily taking the place of Concentrating Current. But it says, activate one of its effects, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and change that target's battle position. So if they're about to swing it at you... Oh, sorry, again with the yawns. So they're about to swing out at you, you can just send it into a defense position. Or, you can tribute your monster and target a face-up monster your opponent's control, take control of that target until the end phase. And the cool thing about that is, in certain situations, you can just now use their monster as tuner material. Which I think is a pretty big insult, and it's hilarious, and I actually really like this card, but there are the other ones that are option. Naturally, for additional consistency, we have a trap card that allows us to go get a Nordic monster from our deck to our hand. Any Nordic monster, it doesn't matter, we need it. I think this is the last one, Nordic Relic, Megan Yards. I can't speak this language. Says target one Aesir or Nordic monster you control. Its attack and defense each become doubled to its original attack and defense until the end of this turn, but it cannot attack your opponents directly this turn. So that last condition's kind of a pain. However, we can sometimes find ourselves in a situation where our opponent has something big out, and we have to get one of our big boys out, and they're in attack position, and we can double up our attack and just swing for the win. I actually did this one time with Odin just yesterday, where my opponent had something that was like 3,000 out. Odin's already 4,000, but when you double that and make it 8,000, that means I kill it, do 5,000 points of damage. With any luck, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And that's the deck. So, I save it despite the fact that there are no changes made. And let's go ahead and see if we can't get a couple of wins before I pass out. Alright. Speaking of which, I noticed you guys, well, anybody who's familiar with this game knows that there's some abilities available. I haven't gone very far into unlocking any of them, which is the main reason why you're not seeing any. Okay, looks like we're going first. Let's see what kind of cards we get. See, look, this guy's got Power by Dark, which means he automatically starts with a copy of Yami on the field. Okay, so this is not an ideal hand, but it's also not terrible. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Yeah, we have instant Odin right here. Check this out. So oh wait, no, we don't have instant Odin. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is send down Vandus. We'll just set her for now. Well, most like we're probably gonna lose her, but ideally our opponent will have a monster on their side of the field next turn. And yeah, we'll lose Vandus, but we'll have Odin out on the field. Because I was about to play and try to get Odin, but then I remember that's actually still pretty conditional. Oh, no monster, huh? Well, we might be able to go a different direction with this then. Ooh, sweet. Now, that's a full back row right there, which concerns me just in the slightest bit. But let's see what happens. So we're gonna normal summon this dude, yourself. We're gonna pretend that's exactly how you're supposed to say it. So this is currently a level 4. This is a level 4. Confirm it. Booyah. Alright. Now we're going to activate her effect, and we will go ahead and send one of the Loki tuners to the grave. And now we have the ability to special summon. And oh, it looks like we can't. That's right, we can substitute for any of them. So yeah, we'll go ahead and hit Odin anyway. Nice. So confirm, confirm, confirm. And we will put it in attack position. Now, if he targets anything with it, we can negate it. It's pretty sweet. And well, let's see. We'll go to attack. See if our opponent does anything. If they don't... and if they do, we can stop it. If they don't... we're so much closer to winning. Oh, I didn't swing it. My bad.
Let's do this. I attack your life points directly.
Okay.
I can still turn this duel.
See, if I'd activated that spell card before doing that, that would have just been a straight up win right there. I'm just not thinking about that, but I also wanted to see if they had some type of reaction that I was going to have to concern myself with.
I may have lost, but I have
Nope, they just quit.
For it was a fantastic duel. That was an excellent.
I don't know if they just weren't lucky or if they just weren't expecting 3,800 power almost instantaneously, but regardless, we got it. Alright, let's do another one of these. See how many of these I can get. Definitely going to try doing at least 3, depending on how long these are, possibly more. I have a couple of other interesting new decks. Neither one of them are as good as this one, I'm not gonna lie, but they should still make some pretty fun gameplay. And then of course we'll be revisiting 6 Samurai, so you can see what it's like at full capacity with 3 Kagekais. But for now we're just gonna focus on some Nordic Beast and some Aesirs.
You're the closest I've ever had to a worthy adversary.
Ugh, shoot. Not a huge fan of this hand, but we're gonna go ahead and mess with it anyway. So we will set both of these. I can go fetch an Aesir. I don't know if I really want to set something. Is it worth the risk? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I can set tier. I have a pretty good chance of drawing something, but if I don't, I don't want to risk it. This might not be the right move, but I'm gonna risk it anyway.
I draw. I set a card.
Alright, so our opponent is setting up a little bit of back row of their own. They're about to end their turn. Alright. So we'll use this to go ahead and definitely go get us a Nordic card. And then it looks like we're probably gonna summon Loki next turn. So we'll just go get Dog Boy here.
I end my turn.
It's my turn.
Make your move.
Make your move. I will make my move. I appreciate your suggestion. So we will normal summon this Mara dude, and then we're gonna special summon. I don't know if they have light stuff in their deck, so we're gonna go with Loki for now. And then we will send Tyr and the dog to the grave.
Here I go.
Let's watch the animation real quick, it's kind of fun. Yay! Bunch of white dots. Alright, and now we have Loki, so we can negate the activation of spell on trap cards. Let's move to combat.
Let's battle.
Or, I guess, battle phase.
Here we go. I attack your life points directly.
I activate my trap. Counter gate.
Ah, countergate, huh?
And I draw a card.
That's what you think, but I should have the ability to shut it down. I do have the ability to shut it down.
My monster's effect activates.
I countered your counter gates and you took 3,300 points of damage. Take that. And now we end the turn.
My turn.
I don't know why it didn't give me the option to activate my trap, because then I could have just straight up won. I probably should have done that beforehand.
I recreated the Pharaoh's deck to be stronger than in real life.
It's not whether you win or lose.
Alright. Well, that was yet another win where we shut down our opponent's ability to really do anything practically instantaneously. This could quite possibly be a deck that is, dare I say it, more oppressive than a properly built 6 Samurai deck. I wonder how this fares in the actual TCG. I'm not gonna lie, I'm half tempted to build it just to find out. I'll tell you what, tomorrow's video, I'll let you know what the cost of this deck would be in a physical form. But for now, let's see if we can't go get us a third win. Maybe a few more. At least the third win. Only 24 minutes in. I'm guessing probably so far half of that was just the deck tech. Kind of rambled a bit there. Alright.
Let the game begin.
Power of Dark. Oh, you're starting off with Yami yet again.
If you are a true duelist, I expect nothing less than your best
Okay, so no
strategies.
tuner this time.
My turn.
Why do I always go first? I mean, I'm not really complaining, it's just,
I set a card.
I don't know. Gets dull. I don't know if I really want to set that. I probably should set that. Yeah. I feel like we're going to have to get a little bit lucky for this one, but I think we can win pretty easily.
My turn. I draw a card.
Might pull off a nice little OTK depending on what they do. Alright, so we're starting with some back row over here. Again, our opponent has Yami out, which tells me they're either messing with Fiend or Spellcaster type monsters. Probably both.
From my hand, I activate a
Whoa,
continuous
hold up. Yeah, I guess we can actually. Well, no. We don't want to give him a hint. Oh, this is a DD deck. Okay, that makes sense. So it's going to be centered around fusion cards. Luckily, I think we can still beat this. Possibly easily, actually. Because if I remember right from the last time I played a DD deck, I think they dropped this like enormous bomb in attack mode.
Now's the time. I fusion summon a monster.
And then, yeah, it's like a 2800. That's 3000 at the moment. Let's see. Any effects? Okay, that's not a huge deal. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and let them attack, and then we'll activate on our turn.
Let's battle.
It's unlikely that the trap that they have will be able to shut down anything that we do, but we'll see what happens.
Let's do this. My monster attacks.
Screw it, let's just do it now.
Exactly what I was waiting for. I use my
So with
base
this,
spell
we're
card.
gonna go get our tuner,
My trap activates.
and I'm going to go get Mara, just because she's reliable. She, he, it, whatever, I don't know, dude. No, we're not gonna activate that, we're gonna save that for what could probably be a victory throw. So, all we have to do is get a non-tuner at level 4, let's go! Oh, shoot. That's not what I wanted. Okay. So what we can do is try to stall out for another turn. And because we really want that Loki. So we will go ahead and throw you to the wind. End turn. And see if next turn we don't get what we need. Because right now, depending on what they pull and how they play, we're probably facing about 3,000 points of damage, but that's not death. And we have the ability to set up an instant death on the following turn.
Continuous spell.
Continuous spell card. Fusion summon something, right? What are you fusing? Whatever it is, he's thinking about it.
Now's the time. I fusion
Alright,
summon a monster.
now is the time. I fusion summon a monster. Flame King something or other. 2200. Okay, yeah, so if they attack the smart way, then we take 3,000 points of damage. So, if another DD monster special summon to your field while you control his face-up card, you can target a DD monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Okay. Let's destroy by battle. Okay. Stuff. Okay, so nothing super. Oh, there goes our instant one.
Time to battle. Here we go. My
Okay,
monster
so yeah,
attacks.
does that. Contract the Witch. Alright. Non-tuner level 4, non-tuner level 4, non-tuner level 4. Shoot. Alright. Well, that's a definite loss. So we will go ahead and accept defeat. Oh wait, I just remember you're not supposed to surrender because that messes with your stats somehow. I can't remember exactly how. A great duel for who? Alright, well. That was 3 duels. There's a very good chance we're going to revisit this deck probably the next time we do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Go around, because I spent a ton of money getting some packs for this game. And I want to definitely get my money's worth. And on top of that, I really enjoyed playing this deck. So, that's it for today. Tomorrow, I will have yet another cool deck to show you. Not as powerful as this one, but still kind of fun. Still kind of interesting. And you'll just have to wait and see it. For now, thanks for watching. Bye.